Hey everybody, my name is Frank. I'm the Mad Dad and welcome back to my channel. Today what we're going to be talking about are my 5 favorite VR games for 2020. Now 3 of these games are going to be simulators, 2 flight simulators, a driving simulator, and 2 of them are just really cool games which I love and I think that you would like as well. And if you're just getting into VR, you're looking for new VR games to try, you should really consider these as part of your collection. And before we get started, if this is your first time to the channel, please make sure you click the subscribe button below. Helps me out, obviously. And I do release content on a weekly basis, mainly focused around VR technology, gaming technology for VR, and other things as well as general tips and stuff like that. So let's get started. Number 5. So the first thing I'm going to say here is before I made this video, I expected to look as cool as I felt playing the game. Well, I'm going to keep that illusion going, at least in my head. So anyways, Beat Saber basically allows you to become a Jedi, hacking and slashing blocks as they hurl towards you. The modes range from beginner to expert plus, with expert plus being an absolute flurry of activity. It's available for both consoles as well as the PC, and it comes with a standard set of songs, and you can actually buy additional groups of songs from bands such as Green Day and Imagine Dragons. On the PC version, you can also download custom songs created by the Beat Saber community, and these songs include the latest hits, songs from the 60s, the 70s, techno music, homemade workouts, and a lot more. Unfortunately, at least at the time of this video, custom songs are only available for the PC. But if you'd like to know more about how to add custom songs to your game, leave a comment below and I'll make a video about it in the near future. I will say I absolutely love Beat Saber and I use it as my workout routine every single morning. I find that it gets me in the right frame of mind for work, and besides being a great workout, gets me thinking a lot better and able to tackle the problems that present themselves on a daily basis. The second game in our list is IL2 Sturmovik, and IL2 is a multiplayer or single-player World War II combat flight simulator originally released in 2001. That makes this game, or simulator, almost 20 years old, and it includes a number of different modules spanning different areas and times of World War II. These modules include the Battle of Stalingrad, the Battle of Moscow, the Battle of Kuban, and most recently the Battle of Baden-Plate. Now each module does have to be purchased separately, and the price does vary from $50 to $70 each. But if you keep your eyes open for sales, there's usually at least a couple per year, and you can get up to 50% off. So within this simulator, users can select any number of airplanes, ground vehicles as well, and scenarios from either Germany, Russia, the US, and Great Britain. And the fighters and bombers include the 109, the 190, the P-38 Lightning, and the first jet to ever see combat, the Me-62. Flight models are as realistic as it gets, and this is a true simulator with damage and handling characteristics next to none. So what this means is that this isn't really your typical flying game, and although it's possible to play this on a keyboard, it is best played using an actual stick, throttle, and rudder pedals, and there's a definite learning curve to master. Basically you're flying a real simulated airplane, so all of the aerodynamics and stall characteristics and flight characteristics are actually replicated in this game. Now, if you would like to see the HOTAS and the type of gaming hardware that I use to play something like this, which you can actually see in the video and that little indent on the side of the video, please let me know and I'll make a video about it. So, in conclusion, if you have a love of flying, if you love World War II era airplanes, I really strongly recommend giving IL2 Sturmovik a try. You will absolutely not be disappointed, and it will absolutely blow you away with the amount of realism and the immersion that VR also brings to a game like this. So the next game in our list is A Fisherman's Tale, and I have to say, when I first saw this game, I had absolutely no idea what to expect. It had gotten pretty good reviews. It looked kind of neat. People were really recommending it, so I thought I would take a chance and give it a try. And I have to say, I was really pleasantly surprised. It absolutely blew my mind. Now, this was actually my first VR game outside of simulators, so there was a bit of a learning curve, just figuring out how to get around. Simulators I'd used that I always been sitting down, whereas with this one, you have a choice of sitting or standing. I chose to stand, as you can see, and it was a little bizarre. I mean, I ended up actually walking into a few walls, would get all twisted up my cables, and it took me a little while to actually figure it out. But once I figured it out, it was really great. Basically, it's a story of a lighthouse keeper who's actually a puppet, a wooden puppet, and there's all of these mind-bending VR puzzles that you have to figure out. And you see you have this tiny version of your lighthouse in your living room, I guess if you can call it your living room, and you can interact with it in some pretty interesting ways. You can pick up things, you can throw them around, you've got a bunch of little creatures. I won't give away too much because obviously if you want to play it, you're going to want to see this yourself. But your goal here is to get to the top of the lighthouse, I guess, before the big storm hits. The graphics are really good. The puzzles are a little challenging, but at the same time, not too difficult. If you work your way through it, you can figure it out. And of course, if you can't figure it out, there's always lots of cheats available. Now, as I mentioned, you can also play this standing or seated. If you do tend to get sick when you're playing in a seated or standing version, then do it as a seated. But like I said, highly recommended, a lot of fun, and I'm sure you will completely enjoy this one.
There must be food out here.
Nothing? I'll starve. And somehow I shall soon talk. If only you find me some food.
That smelled vintage, but a stuffed fish could hardly be picky.
What are you waiting for? Throw the sardine. I'm ready to catch it.
So number 4 on our list is the racing simulator Assetto Corsa by the Italian video game developer Conus Simulazioni. And this game was first released in 2014, and it was designed with an emphasis on a completely realistic racing experience. And if you are into sim racing, then this is the game you absolutely have to try. Available in both single player and multiplayer versions. And if you're competitive and you want to try your skills against other players, you will find there is a really vibrant community out there. And information I got off of Wikipedia, but it says that as of 2016, this game was considered to be one of the most active racing simulators in the world, with over 900 active multiplayer servers and racing leagues basically all around the world. So, if you want to get out there and test your skills against other players, then this is the place to do it. In the actual paid version, there's 18 official tracks and a multitude of different cars available from rally to F1. And a number of these tracks are actually taken from laser scans, so they are really, really accurate. Now, there's also a number of mods available for cars and tracks, which are developed by a really vibrant community. So if you're looking for something specific, you know, I've even seen a Volkswagen Beetle, like the old-fashioned one that you can actually get in there and race around. Somebody's probably designed a specific car for you, and there's even some cars out there that are like dream cars that don't actually exist in the real life, but you can pick them up. Now, the cars can be tweaked to your heart's content. If this is what you're into, you can do everything, including the camber of the wheels, downforce suspension, different types of tires, and more. It's gone way beyond what I'm capable of doing, but if you like to tweak your car, then this is the place to do it. Now, the other thing you'll notice that here I'm actually using a steering wheel and a gear assembly or paddle wheels. You can have both, basically either a shifter or paddles, I guess. And that is probably the best way to play this game because it does give you the most realistic experience, especially if you're using something with force feedback. And if you'd like to know more about the actual setup that I'm using, make sure you check the link above and take a look at that. Now, if you don't have the steering wheel, you can actually use a console controller like an Xbox controller or a PS4, PS3 controller. Actually, I don't know if PS3 will work, but definitely PS4. And that's another way of getting around. I know that when I first started, before I got my wheel, I was using my PS4 controller and it just worked fine. There's also, you know, the driving physics are also super accurate. So, you know, for example, if you go around a corner too fast, you will skid out. You'll also notice, you know, the differences between running with cold tires versus warm tires. You know, it's really, really accurately done. And I have to say, I love this game. The first time I tried it, I was absolutely blown away. You actually feel like you're in a car. All it needs is well, I guess you could set up a fan, and that would give you the wind if you wanted that. But it is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, the one downside I will say about this racing sim, especially when you're starting out, is that it could make you a little bit queasy. And I know for myself, I kind of went through that. So if that happens, you know, you need to take a bit of a break and then come back and try it again. And eventually you will acclimate to the way the driving game works. Your mind will kind of fit into the senses that you're experiencing, and you really will start to enjoy it. But definitely one of my favorite racing games that I've tried, Assetto Corsa. Give it a try. All right, so this brings us to the #1 game on my list and my personal favorite VR game, which is Digital Combat Simulator. And this, by the way, is the game that actually originally got me into VR, and I personally think it is one of the best VR simulators out there. A little bit of history: DCS was originally released in 2010 with a single module, the A10 Warthog. And in 2015, DCS World was launched, which included a map of the Caucasus region of the Black Sea area. Currently, it includes over 10 fully modeled, study-level combat aircraft and helicopters, ranging from the 1940s right up to the present. And a selection of these aircraft include the completely remodeled A10 Warthog, the P-51, better known as that Mustang, the M2000, the UH-1 Huey, which you know, you often see in movies from Vietnam, the F-5 Tiger, the MiG, the Harrier, which is actually the AV-8B Night Attack, the F-14 Tomcat, the F-16, and my personal favorite, the F-18 Hornet, which is what we're currently seeing here in the video, which is about to do a carrier landing. Now, there are 2 free aircraft that you can download, so anybody can actually try DCS for free. I'll talk about that a little bit more in the moment. And the other aircraft will run you between $40 and $80 each. So, there is a bit of a cost to using these paid aircraft if you want, but I do have to say that really what you're paying for here is an exceptional quality level. Each aircraft is modeled, and it's well worth it. Like I said, all these aircraft include accurate flight models, clickable cockpits. For maps, you've got Caucasus region, which I previously mentioned, the Persian Gulf, Nevada Test Range, which also includes Las Vegas, and you also have the Normandy area for World War II aircraft. And you can play this as a single player or multiplayer game. And in the multiplayer side, there's a number of virtual squadrons available, both land and carrier based, that you can join. This simulation does take things to max, and in VR, it is a completely incredible, immersive experience. As far as I'm concerned, this is a simulator that was made for VR, and once you try it out in VR, you just won't go back. The level of immersion is incredible, combined with, and you combine that with something like a rumble seat, you'll actually think you are sitting in the compact. So if you really want to take this to the max, you also want to enjoy it with a HOTAS as well, which is basically a throttle and stick combination and rudder pedals. You can use a keyboard and mouse to fly, but it won't be quite the same thing. And like I said before, if this is something you'd like to try for free, there are 2 free aircraft and the Caucasus map that you can actually download. The 2 free aircraft include the Su-27 and the civilian version of the Mustang. So that's really it. That's my 5 favorite top VR games. I hope you enjoyed this. If there's some other VR games that I didn't include here that are your personal favorites, please leave a comment below. Let me know what they are, and let me know comments about anything you have. And don't forget that if you did enjoy this, please subscribe. Really helps me out. Click that like button, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much.
$400, 300 feet, 200 feet, 100, 50.